Okay, let's go.
Good morning, our teacher and our classmates. Today, our group 4 will do the presentation about our awareness of the study when safe proved risky, the commercial paper during the financial crisis of 2007 and 2009. And so, me and Hao will do the summary of the paper. Ming and Hai will do the strength of the paper and continue with Bao will do the witness. Lâm will continue about with the improvement of the paper, and the last one will be for Khương, who will do the connection to the other literature review. And now I will do the summary for you guys to catch up with what the paper actually do. And first and foremost, the author described the institutional backgrounds of the commercial paper, and it shows that it is the short-term debt instrument issued by a large corporation. For the issuers, it is such an easy and cheaply way to raise the funds. And for the investor, the commercial paper offers a slightly higher return than the treasury bill does, but it costs the rollover or liquidity risk. And then the paper continues with the demands and the supply side of the commercial paper. With the supply side, the benefit of issuing the commercial paper is to exempt the registration under the Security Act of 1933. And also, in which it is considered as an expensive and lengthy process. And then the author tried to define the three categories of the commercial paper. The first one is the asset-backed, and the second financial, and the third is corporate. And on the demand side, the money market funds and the mutual funds are the main investor in this commercial market. And the main risk is that the change in interest rate and default on the issuer investment, which can cause the risk for the investor. And the author continues with showing the consumer perspective before and after the financial crisis on the commercial paper. And the first he showed that the historical perspective by the failure of the Penn Center in 1970 and the failure of energy economy Enron in 2001. And so, but however, it can compare with the financial crisis in 2007 and 2009. That it shows a huge decline and concern in commercial market. The crisis in asset-backed commercial paper quickly spread across over the financial sector and also the bank worldwide. And now Ms. Tao will continue the presentation with the reason why it's collapsed.
Hi everyone, now I will present the next part of the paper with the reason why the commercial paper collapsed and the Federal Reserve intervention to respond. First, about the reason of commercial paper collapse, there are three reasons you can see here. The first one is the substitution to other sources of the finance. This reason based on two financial events related to the commercial paper, that is the asset-backed commercial paper collapse and the Lehman bankruptcy. The paper found out that the main reason starting from the buyer or the investor, during the crisis, they are revise upward the expectation about the commercial paper default because pre-crisis they regard that the commercial paper is a safety and because due to the short maturity and the high credit rating, then they require higher return for this higher risk, and that makes the cost of commercial paper funding. Besides that, the poor information gathering incentive of the investor Then during the crisis, the commercial paper value were more sensitive to the new information. Then the investor waste time and the cost for information gathering, adding up to result. Then the people determined that the substitution to the other sources of the finance were replaced for the commercial paper, and they also give the advantage of the sponsoring financial institutions such as bank deposit and certificate of the deposit, which were the primarily alternative sources for the commercial paper. The next reason is the advertising between the commercial paper and issuer and the investor. The paper suppose that the high quality issuer leave the commercial paper market. Then that leads to the average quality. Of the remaining issuer would decrease. Then also the paper show that the investor unable to tell the quality difference between the remaining issuer and then increase the required commercial paper spread. This so-called make the commercial paper market freeze, and this other solution amplify the existing substitution to other sources of financing and the decline in the commercial paper outstanding. And the last reason is the institutional constraint. This decrease in demand by the money market fund may not be offset by the demand from the other investor. This paper shows pre-financial crisis. The investor regard that the commercial paper are the safe asset due to its short maturity and high credit rating. But due to the financial crisis, after the ABCP collapse and the Lehman bankruptcy, the commercial paper became too risky for money market fund rolling over, then lead to the decline in the commercial paper. Next is the Federal Reserve intervention. Before giving the intervention of the Fed to respond, the paper give the effect of commercial paper market on the real economy. Because of the difference in the commercial paper market, so it reduce sharply the ability to provide loan of the financial intermediary and from non-financial corporation to draw on the backup credit line. So the intervention need focus on stabilizing the market for financial and the asset-backed commercial paper. You can see that this paper compare different intervention policy in two cases of financial events. That is the asset-backed commercial paper collapse and the Lehman bankruptcy due to the two reasons. For example, the asset-backed commercial paper collapse by the lack of liquidity and the Lehman bankruptcy lack of solvency. And this paper shows detailedly the intervention during two events. And to conclude, this paper states that intervention was successful in improving the financial condition for firms, and the commercial paper market was stabilized and larger country managed. And finally, the financial company able to issue the commercial paper. The next part will present.
Okay, so after reading the paper, we found out some a strong point of the paper. The first one is the structure. It's not a very clearly structure, which is divided into three main parts. The first one is the institutional background of the commercial paper. So in this part, they provide a fully definition of commercial paper and also the history of the commercial paper in the US market. In the second part, they provide a mechanism of commercial paper in the supply side and also the demand side in the market. In this part, the mechanism they provide is theoretically sound and also have a strong connection with the commercial paper. In the last part, which is the most important part, is the explanation of how commercial paper declined during the financial crisis in 2007 and 2009. They used many examples and also the real example in the US market to discuss the explanation of the commercial paper. So in this part, which is three main explanations, they also provide theoretical mechanism to explain how it's declined in the market. The next strong point that we find out is the data. So,
now I would like to talk about the second part of the strengths in this paper. Firstly, its all explanation are theoretical sounds. The authors apply the specific theories which related with the focus of the topics, the commercial paper, and in the financial crisis. For an instance, Hancock's and Longchet in 1993 is one of the good theory is picked up in this paper to demonstrate the sufficient scale in the authors need to use the theory in the commercial program to explain it. And the second is the mechanism is clearly explained. Is clearly explained by the Stigum and presidency in 2007. The commercial paper illustrates the advantages of the commercial paper with all the from many expressions such as the interest rate. It is helpful for the audience to have a good view and can compare it to all the theories in the world. Nextly, the data is in this paper is used from the FED, which is one of the most reliable sources to use. And the paper is not really only reliable data, but also strongly connected to the explanation, to the relationship between the commercial paper and even during the crisis from 2007 to 2009. It has for the audience have a good and comprehensive looking and understanding the focus of the papers. And the next part, we will keep going this presentation.
Well, hello there. I will be talking about the weakness of the paper. First of all, I would like to say that I would like to comment that this is an excellent paper. It's very well detailed and very clear explanation. But there is a problem because the writing of the study is very complex. It's the author also noted that they only focus on the US market. So that leave out the commercial paper market in the other part of the world, like in the Europe or in the Asia. Also, in the different situations, the central bank of the different countries will react different, and they need to intervene in a more complicated. How should I say? They have a different way of acting in the financial crisis. We all know that 2008 and 2007 and 2008 it called that period it called a global crisis. But while the study they focus only on the US, so it's not like the whole crisis is only about the US. Also, the paper doesn't really mention about the concept of euro commercial paper. Since it is a commercial paper which is issued in a different currency. For example, the firm in the US may issue a commercial paper in maybe in Europe or in British pound. Let's take a look at the example here. During the time of 2007 and 2008, of course, according to the paper, we have a study described in this example is about asset backers, commercial paper. The value is measured in millions of dollars. So we have, and here and is a ABCP of the USA from 2008. The first of January 2008 is the data for the 2000 year. So in the time of the crisis, here we have the ABCD asset-backed commercial paper slightly decreased in the US, in the Germany also. But as I said before, in the other market, for example, this one here about the Japanese, in the Japan market, it doesn't change very much. We have example here from 40 billion to 39.5 billion dollars. Also, another excellent example is that in the Canada market, we even have an increase in the asset-backed commercial paper. In here, from 56 billion to 61 billion. This is the reason why our paper, our excellent paper, cannot explain all of the market. And also, because of the oral commercial paper, with the globalization chain, it's very likely that the investor switch change from the commercial in the US, which suddenly described to the Canada, which slightly increased. Well, the witness took over from this witness. I will let it for next member. He will talk about how to improve this paper.
Yes. So thank you, my father, to helping me to point out the strength and the weakness of the paper. So in my turn, I would like to give the two possible improvements for the paper. Then, actually, we cannot deny how informative a paper it is. But after scanning through it, it hardly mentioned about the result of the first intervention. And I personally see it is a little bit difficult to understand all the term and action the first time. So I would like to simplify the first action with the hope that my friends can understand it more easily. So in the next graph here, in this graph here, we have the three important events. The first one is the Lehman collapse, and money market fund break the box, and the Fed guarantees appearance. Immediately after the Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcies, the money market fund faced the run, and it became much more severe in the next couple of days until the September 19, 2008. It was $172 billion were estimated that flow out of the money market. And this part is the one that I want to emphasize. Right after the Fed's quarantine, the market was calmed down quickly. And the next thing is spread rate the spread rate between the low and high qualities of non-financial commercial paper. As you can see in the graph here, during the panic, the rate flew up very high, and unfortunately, at this rate, the firm still cannot access the fund because of illiquidity market. And once again, after the Fed guarantees, they have brought back the rate back to the much more affordable level in the beginning of the 2009. And turning to the last part of mine, I want to simplify the Fed's action by the quote of the Ben Bernanke. He is the former chairman of Federal Reserve. Making your loan to this company, and we will be here ready to backstop you if there is a problem rolling over this fund. Actually, Fed has done a lot of action, such as using repo, 62 billion repo to inject the liquidity to the market, or reduce the discount rate by 50 basic point, and announcing a term option facilities program. But after all, the ultimate purpose of the Fed is being a backstop, take responsibility directly in order to keep the belief of investor in the money market. And that is the two possible improvements that I want to be added in the paper. Thank you for listening, and the next part will be performed by Guru.
Next part is relation to all the literature review, and we can see that Fed act as a lender of last resource. However, when we see in this recession, Fed act too aggressively. Why? Because when we look at the historical, look back in the history, Milton Friedman said that in the Great Depression in the 1930s, the Great Depression that was caused by the failure of the market, but because the Fed failed to act as the lender of last resort. So, because of that, when the Fed failed to act as the lender of last resort, when the recession come into 1929, the Fed let many banks fail and make the M2, it means money supply, go down. In the recession, which caused the recession become the Great Depression. Because of that, so Fed fear that commercial paper market collapse, investor lose confidence. It will repeat the history. It will become the Great Depression. So that Fed act very aggressively. Why I say that? Because Ben Bernanke, he said, I would like to thank Milton and Anna regarding to the Great Depression. You are right, we did it. We are sorry, but thank you. We're gonna do it again. Why he said that? Because in the history, Fed failed to rescue the bank and caused the Great Depression. So that Ben Bernanke is sorry, and he will act very aggressively to rescue the market, rescue the whole economy. And the next point I want to connect the paper to other part is that the intervention of Fed and the principal economics. The principal economics is the very basic knowledge when many economists didn't have know. But when we link to that paper, we see very interesting thing. First, the paper advocates that Fed action. They say that okay, Fed action is very successful, help the economy. So it's very good. This is why the principle 7 of economic apply to us. Government can sometimes improve the market outcome. When the principle 6 say that market is the best way to allocate the resources and it's very good. But in principle 7 we say government can sometimes improve the market outcome, and we see in the reality when the market fail, Fed come, government come, it have recession do not become into the Great Depression. and we have the economic growth again. And however, even it can apply principle of several economic apply in this reality, some disagree with that. For example, Mr. Stingless, economist Stingless, he argued Fed being power abuse. He said, okay, Fed using too much power rather than his institutes. And it's our reprint about what we can use, what paper we use to support our idea. And this is my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Do you have any questions about the presentation? We guys comment? No? Everything good? You? Any questions? No? Okay, about the weakness of this paper, do you have any question? Please go back to the slide. Weakness of the Okay, firstly, the lack of non-US commercial paper market assessment. Any others? No?
Please don't decide, I will answer.
Okay, but at the beginning of this paper, so that the authors focus seeing on the U.S. commercial paper market, so that they said that they study on the U.S. commercial paper, right? And also, I think that they refer to the U.S. commercial paper, right? Okay.
Yes. They do very well research on the US based commercial paper, but it's also the limited because in the other part, well, this global crisis is not only in the US. In fact, in the Euro commercial market, in the same time, about 50% of the total value of the U.S. commercial paper market. So that means about half side of the U.S. market.
Okay, you mean that the impact of the commercial paper consists of not only the U.S.
Yes.
But also the non-U.S. right?
Just actually in here, sorry, the total size.
But now focusing on the U.S. market.
Just of course, I focus on. Let me tell you. In US, we have $300 billion, right?
Yeah.
But in UK, we have $147 billion, and in Netherlands, it's $130 million. So the total size this is only asset paper. Asset paper to the commercial paper. It doesn't include everything. So it's a perfect example that you cannot only study the US and leave out every other country.
Okay.
The total size.
What do you think about it? In this paper, so we can see the literature review, right, of this commercial paper. But also that we don't see what the quantitative analysis, right? We can
Yes.
only see the limitation of this paper.
Yes.
Yeah. We only see the literature review and we can see that, okay, the impact of the commercial paper in US market, right? But we can't see, we couldn't see the quantitative analysis.
Also, in the
I think that you should adjust, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, and go to the last so nice. Yeah, reverse. Okay. Okay, you mean the principle 7 of economics?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you, but I wonder the role of the government and the Fed. What do you mean here?
You mean in the principle economic, the government and Fed, well, the government will improve market value, and that's exactly what they do in the Great Recession.
Great recession.
The recession. Sorry.
Recessions. Okay. And also, do you think that is better or not better that
I
the
think it's-
government and the Fed?
I think it's better because in the history, Fed failed at the latter result and the recession become the Great Depression. So that they have to do, or else the history will repeat again.
Okay, and one question that why do the Federal Reserve rescue the banks?
Be-
Intervention, rescue.
Yes.
Why?
Risk is the one to restore the confidence to have boosting the economic.
Because we you see last time so that we discussed about the market, right? The supply and the demand, right? And so
Actually,
why don't the government or the Fed ignore? Okay, you fail so that you will go to the bankruptcy, right? Don't worry about it because of the market. Why?
the funny thing is in the theory, we should have the market do everything.
Yeah.
But in the technical thing is that it's in the perfect competitive market when the something loose, let the market do it. But in the reality and in the banking system, everything is connected to each other. If one lose the money, if you don't rescue them, all will be very good, do very good, lose money. The other very good, lose the money. Everybody lose confidence, and it's not because they do the wrong thing, but because the other do the wrong thing and impact to the good people, and they all the whole economy lose the confidence. So that fact we have to come to improve the market value, to fix the market value.
And overcome the no.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Have any questions? No? Okay, thank you. I see you.